All right, everybody, let's get started. First of all, I just really wanted to thank you for having me in today. It means a lot. I'm very excited to talk to you about Crackle. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Trevor Thompson. I work in the West Coast Sales Group for Sony Pictures Television, digital media sales and sponsorships. We have a lot of really cool stuff to show you today about Crackle, some fun trailers of our originals. But if there's a few things I want you to take away from today's meeting, it's the following. The first is an understanding of Crackle not just as a digital video service or a digital company, but as a TV network. And I'll explain more about that as we get into this discussion. The second is an understanding about how the TV landscape is changing and the way people watch TV is changing and how Crackle fits into that. The third is how Crackle can guarantee you a very unique and hard to reach segment with your advertising. And of course, I'm talking about the mythical cord cutter, cord shaver, cord never, who's actually not that mythical at all, as you'll see. And then also about how we can help you align your brand, your product, with some of the coolest entertainment content being produced right now, whether it's online or on television itself, using Sony Pictures Television Studios and the talent and the star.
Hi everybody, thank you so much for coming in today. I'm Heather Riley, Senior Account Executive with Sony Pictures Digital Networks. I know we've been trying for a while to get this meeting on the books, so we're really glad we can make it happen. And we have a nice packed room, which is always a good sign. So hopefully we have some Crackle fans here. And if you're not, then by the time I leave today, hopefully you will be. Before we get started, I would love to turn it over to you guys, just hear a little bit about what you're kind of challenged with back half of this year and going into 2016. What you've been doing, what's been working well for you, what's not, and maybe some kind of some holes that you're finding in the digital landscape, or areas of interest that your clients are kind of challenging you to really dig into. Because as we go through this update today, I can kind of tailor and focus in on those areas, and then hopefully coming out of today, we can set some clear follow-up to really dig in and identify ways that we could potentially partner again, later this year and going into next year. So if you guys could share a little bit about what you're doing, that would be super helpful. So thank you for that. That's really, really helpful, and always appreciate when you guys can take the time and share that. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Crackle, or you kind of just know us as the Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee website, I want you to take that kind of perception of us, put that to the side, and really think of us as a TV network, programming and creating great content, original content, acquired content, backed by Sony Pictures Television. So all of our content is 100% long form, so equate us with, any of your linear networks, FEP players out there, but with the benefit of having a much lighter ad load than the FEPs and broadcast networks. We're also completely free, so none of our content is behind a paywall, and we're available literally on every platform and device that you can think of. So we're truly an over-the-top TV network, and we'll dig in a little bit deeper into what that means and where we are, and how.
All right.
Hi, I'm Erica Nino. I am a Senior Account Executive with Sony Crackle. Thank you so much for having me here today. I want to take you guys through what we're doing at Sony Crackle, how we're creating, curating, and streaming quality content in the over-the-top environment that is 100% ad supported. I think we can all say we're streaming video in our life. The media landscape is changing so fast, media consumption habits. Who in here has streamed video this week? Right? All of us. So we're all starting to engage in a different way.
I love Crackle. I do.
Thank you. I like to hear that kind of support. So anyway, I want to take you guys through what we're doing here and really how we're helping to change the landscape and bringing consumers what they're asking.
The bottom line of today is that I think everybody realizes that the TV landscape is changing. It has been changing for a while now, and it's completely evolved from where it was 10 years ago. Traditional TV networks are making changes as well, where they're answering consumers' demands to make their content available across streaming platforms. What we see is that around 40% of homes have some sort of subscription VOD service that they're accessing long-form premium content on, and that's across Netflix, partners like Amazon. And those partners are great, and they do a great job offering content, but there's no advertising available with them, so your clients cannot reach those users. And that's where Crackle comes in. Crackle is really the only premium free service that is ad-supported, and we're available across all platforms, like I said. Millennials are harder to
I'm
reach.
sorry, you had a question?
Yeah, is all your content from Sony?
Great question. So actually, no. That's a common question I would see when people come and say, "Isn't all?" About 2 years ago when I first started, they would always say, "Oh, when I come to Crackle, all I see is Sony content. Are you guys going to get other content from other content providers?" And the answer is yes. 65% of our content is licensed outside of Sony Pictures Television. So we have agreements with Lionsgate, NBC Universal, 20th Century Fox, Paramount, Warner Brothers, Screen Gems, Lionsgate. We're working with Disney. We're working with the major studios and content providers to constantly bid on programming that's going to be relevant and desirable to the audience that we're programming to, which is every charger. So, great question.
What I was really hoping to do was, just get the opportunity to learn more about what you've done with your brands in the past as far as integrations go, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and then tell you a little bit more about what we do specifically and how we might be able to make those experiences a little different. So, what has worked for you guys in the past? Okay, got it. Perfect. So, well, with that said, let me jump right into this. I'm not sure.
PlayStation. So I want to kick it off with a little bit of a rapid fire for you guys and just ask a few questions, and then we'll dive into the presentation. So, question for you: Who knew the terminology of CTV maybe like 3, 4, 5 years ago? Did you guys use that terminology? No, not really. Huh?
Maybe in like the last year.
Right. Okay. And do you have any kind of connected TV device in your household today?
I do.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a cable subscription?
No.
Are you in your 20s?
Yes.
Yes. And how about you, Amanda?
I have a Roku and a connected TV and a PlayStation.
Great.
And I also have cable.
You do have cable.
I'm going to cut the cord.
And you are out of your 20s, right?
I am just.
It's a
out of
personal
my
question,
20s.
but it's okay. All right, good. These are good things to know as we kind of dive into this. We're, as you guys can imagine.
PlayStation, Xbox. We're on the streaming consoles, your Apple TV, Roku's of the world, the smart TVs. We are on your mobile devices, online. We're on all the tablets. Kind of an interesting partnership is we're actually on Delta Airlines and their seat back. So the next time you're flying from LA to New York and you've got some screaming baby that's kicking your seat, you could just put the headphones on and just, kind of just drown out in a few episodes of celebrities or comedians in cars getting coffee. So again, we are just very much.
Anytime a new product is launched, whether it's an Xbox One, an Apple TV, or a Roku 3, or Amazon Fire TV Stick, Crackle is preloaded and readily available on that device. And if it's not, you can go into your App Store and simply download it again for free. Smart TVs, simply go into your Smart TV App Store and download the Crackle app and start watching immediately. It's a benefit for us because we're distributed across all these platforms, and it's a benefit for the consumers that are buying these products because they have access to free content with Crackle. We're actually featured in the Amazon Fire TV Stick commercial. Our logo is right there and prevalent in that commercial. So definitely a great way to provide users with that content in different ways. So Crackle advertising. What does Crackle actually offer? How can we allow you to reach your consumers? We actually offer you Crackle's actually a great complement to any TV campaign, and we'll show you an example of that. We have a groundbreaking TV experience that we just discussed, and we have ad solutions that really are first to market. We try to make sure that everything that we do is every time a new product is available, we want to make sure that we continue to evolve with the marketplace. And that's one of the benefits for me of working with Crackle is that I know our management team is willing and able to invest in these ad products to take us to the next level. So they'll never be able to. I'll never be stuck in a meeting and say, "Oh, is that something that you'd like to do?" Well, we're not going to be able to do that. I know and I'm confident that our team will invest. Sony will invest in our brand to continue to take us to the next level. And one great example of that is we've been working with Nielsen and Comscore to make sure that we can get measurement and demographic targeting and audience targeting across all screens. We currently are working with Nielsen and Comscore to demo target and audience target across desktop, mobile, and tablet. We were one of the first ones to have Comscore VC available on mobile and tablet. We're working to get Comscore and VC available on connected TV devices this year, and Nielsen will show.
So in talking about the space and just understanding that more and more consumers are cutting the cord and starting to stream, I'm just curious, how many of you guys have completely cut the cord in the room? Do you have no cable network?
No cable
Or
network.
no cable. Did you ever have cable?
I did.
Okay. And so, what do you use to stream?
Connected TV
And what like
on my PlayStation.
your PlayStation? But like Netflix, Crackle, Hulu. What are you watching?
Netflix, Crackle.
All the
Hulu.
above.
Yep.
Awesome. Anyone else that's cut the cord?
I haven't cut the cord yet. I'm still. I have my internet that runs through it, but I have many connected TV devices in the household. I just haven't actually made the switch.
Okay, well, you're a slightly older demo
Yeah.
too, so you know there's some comfort there.
Yes, thank you for reminding me.
Well, this stat actually totally plays into alignment with what you guys have just told me, that currently 40% of the homes in the U.S. use a subscription-based streaming service, so like a Hulu or a Netflix. And obviously this number keeps growing year over year as more platforms launch, more programs are available, there's so much more content, and people are just getting more and more comfortable with how to use their connected devices. And the thing to keep in mind with Crackle is that obviously we stand out because we are actually an advertising-based streaming platform as opposed to a subscription-based. So we will always be ad-based, there will never be a fee. It really puts us in an amazing position in the marketplace as being someone different. So this year, for year 2, we commissioned Magan and Associates for another new living room study, and it was really just to get a better understanding of how people are streaming, what are they streaming, when, why, on what. And it was not solely focused on Crackle. We wanted to look at the landscape as a whole to get a complete picture. And so one of the stats that was really interesting was that 62% of those that are cutting the cord will be replacing it with connected TV. So it makes sense. They still want to watch TV on a TV. It's just a different
themselves. And we know that they're inherently tech savvy because of how they're watching us. Again, watching us on connected devices and over-the-top devices. So they're really that really desirable audience that's hard to reach in a lot of places. They love to stream content, so they may not necessarily be watching linear TV all the time. So we have that audience. And because we know who they are, we can program to them. And so this is a really important distinction between Crackle and a lot of our competitors and some of the video aggregators out there. You know, we are a network with a very defined voice, and we're programming and curating content to a defined audience, just like an FX or an AMC does. So we're not just aggregating a ton of video and throwing it out there and it's for everybody. It's really, every month we have about 1,600 hours of programming, and that gets refreshed every month. And again, because we're programming and curating. So, we'll never have 100,000 hours of content at any given time because everything is done with a purpose. So, when we're putting movies out there, we're actually competing in the same windows as FX and some of the cable networks. So the content, the acquired content that we have is just as relevant as what you would see on cable TV. And so we're really taking that positioning as a TV network one step further into a new consumer experience. We're bringing together the best of linear TV and on-demand. And so this is really exciting for us. We're launching a new consumer experience this summer, starting with Roku. So I have a demo that I'll show you in a minute. But the idea here is that if you think about the on-demand experience now, not just Crackle, but kind of on-demand in general, right now it's a very flat experience until you get to the content that you want. So if you think about it, you're scrolling through very text-driven menu guides, can be kind of clunky, and again, until you find what you want to watch, you're just sort of sitting there navigating through. That's all changing for us. We are launching kind of an always-on experience. And so starting this summer when you launch your Crackle app, again, starting on Roku, and we'll be rolling it out onto other devices, but the second that you turn on your Crackle app, you'll be instantly entertained with content. So it'll be like linear TV where you turn on the channel and something is playing, but you'll have the choice and control of on-demand. So we're doing it in sort of a day-parted approach. So in the morning you might turn on Crackle and it may be comedians in cars getting coffee. In the afternoon it might be Sports Jeopardy, so you can play along at lunch. And in the evening it might be a Crackle original movie or another primetime movie that we have in our lineup that month. You'll be able to either watch that content from the point that it's programmed out to you, you'll be able to go into it and go back to the beginning, or you'll just be able to continue surfing and navigating to what you want to find. So again, it's really bringing together the best of linear TV and on demand. We think it's a game changer. You know, again, right now it's a very
This in our opening, and we all raised our hands that we've streamed video. As media people, as consumers, it's no surprise that 40% of homes are streaming video on demand. When you take that a step further and you look at an audience of millennials, 18 to 34, 90% are streaming video at home. So where are they going? 62% of cord cutters are replacing with connected TV. That's more than desktop, that's more than mobile, that's more than tablet. The fastest growing platform for video advertising is connected TV. And how does Crackle fit in there?
So Joe Dirt 2 launched just last week. This is the most anticipated and unexpected sequel ever. This is brought to us by all the original cast of Joe Dirt, including David Spade, Christopher Walken, Brittany Daniel, and Patrick Warburton, just to name a few. So David Spade has wanted to do this for over 10 years. There is a wonderful cult following behind Joe Dirt and this whole mullet cult following. There's actually a National Mullet Day that happened earlier this summer. And David's wanted to do this for a very long time. He has tons of research just showing the following behind the movie, Joe Dirt. And Joe Dirt 2's launch last week really proved that there is that following. In under a week, we've had over 1 million streams, and that just keeps growing. So it's been a great release for us, and we're really happy to have them.
What I'm going to talk about now is our always-on approach. We're taking a complete revamp to our connected TV experience and actually revamping our desktop and mobile experience as well. But I really want to dive into our connected TV experience because I think it touches on a great insight that we've all probably seen but never really paid attention to. If you think about, actually, I should start by saying how many folks in the room actually have an Apple TV, Roku, or leverage their gaming console, can see some hands, to actually watch and engage in streaming. Okay, a few hands in the room. So the great thing about that is, if you turn on your Netflix or your Hulu Pluses, which you have to both subscribe for, or even your Crackle experiences today, how you're probably seeing it is very similar to a desktop experience, right? You're going in, you're seeing a menu of things to engage with, and you're spending time trying to find some content. It's not truly like TV today, right? So one of the things we wanted to do and revamp our system is really make it an always-on experience, right? Where we're pushing content towards you, just like TV does, right? You turn on your television, turn on your cable box or some other device, and you're instantly watching content. And this instant-on experience is definitely a part of the TV experience. Well, and it's not really part of anything today and connected. We really wanted to change that and revamp that experience. So what we're doing is actually creating an always-on experience. We'll go into a really quick video demo that shows what this really looks like. Awesome. So hopefully you got a feel. Okay.
Yeah, it really does make you sort of feel as though this is a linear experience. But let's take a look at what the revamp to what we're going to actually be calling our always on feature is really going to look like. The rechargers, again, this is, you want your entertainment how you want it when you want it, and we are catering to that almost perfectly. So what I'm going to do here in a second, I'm going to show you sort of we'll show you kind of a quick look at what the actual new experience is going to look like. Again, when you come in, it's going to have a very linear feel to it. Something will be playing. It might be something you were watching last night. It might be something you just came onto. The service itself is very intuitive, so it does kind of get a feel for what you like, what you have been viewing recently. So it'll program and it'll consolidate content around that. Again,
they're obviously professionally made.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so diving into Joe Dirt, hilarious trailer. Have any of you guys checked it out yet?
I watched the movie last week.
You did? You love it?
Yes.
Yeah, so for those of you that didn't have a chance to watch Joe Dirt 2 yet, it is a full-length feature. It is the sequel to the original Joe Dirt, which came out back in 2000. I mean, hilarious. Funny story on this one. We were actually supposed to launch this last year, and David Spade had come to Sony for years to try to get us to create a sequel for him. And at first, everyone was like, no, thank you. This is really what is Joe Dirt? But then after doing the research and checking out the social clout that David Spade has and the number of people that are still dressing up and posting pictures on Facebook and Instagram as Joe Dirt, we realized, okay, wow, there's something behind this. Like, he's one of the most followed actors. So they decided to do it, and then the reason why it didn't get released last year was because he wanted all the original talent to be in it, and so there were a lot of conflicts. So finally, we got it filmed in New Orleans and launched it in July, and it has been live for a week and has already done over 1 million streams.
Wow.
So it's doing insanely well. I have a feeling there's probably going to be a third. So start thinking now if any of your cars are going to fit for this one. And it's more affluent of an audience than you would think. I actually have a really great research study that we did on the first show Dirt. It is college educated. I think the majority are 75K HHI plus. So it's definitely not the trailer trash kind of idea that you're thinking. It is a very well educated audience.
Cool.
All right, so the art of...
And then our streaming product, which of course is Crackle, and then also PlayStation. So big things to remember and know here is that the television shows that we're producing, like Breaking Bad and Blacklist and Shark Tank, long-term soap operas that have been on the air, like Young and the Restless for many years, those were all made out of Sony Pictures Television. Hit shows like Seinfeld. Our music division is doing great things, and we have programs like Playing It Forward that have launched on Crackle, where we had partnerships there with those guys. Big franchises in the movie business like Spider-Man and the Bond series, which we have a new film coming out in November. Then, of course, all the great shows that have been launching on Crackle and original programming that we're getting into, so we'll talk a little bit about like that. And then we're doing original programming on PlayStation as well, and that does fold into our whole data set, which you'll see some numbers on a little bit later. So that just gives you a little bit of a background on the Sony portfolio and how we play best in practice with all parts of the company.
Theme that you'll see here is that the TV landscape is really changing, and we're helping to change that, which is exciting, but what does it mean? So there's a few things that we know. Stat from Nielsen is that 40% of homes are now using a subscription VOD service, a la a Netflix. That's great. We all love using those services, but for this room, our purposes, your clients' purposes, they essentially have no advertising opportunities or very little. So it doesn't really help us, in terms and help you guys as marketers in kind of getting a message about your products or brands in front of consumers. Secondly, another big factor kind of shaping the landscape is the rise of connected TV. So we've done a ton of deep dive research into streaming habits, particularly in the home. And so we have really a whole study that we've done now for 2 years in a row. We've partnered with Maggot Associates. So if you guys want more information, want to talk more about that, or you have a client that maybe is focused on that area, we're happy to go a little bit deeper. But one of the big takeaways is that 62% of people that are cutting their cord are replacing that with connected devices.
Be able to serve up content that's relevant to you for when you come in. And then we'll probably consider day parting as well. So maybe something is more episodic and 30 minutes in nature during the day, like the comedians in cars getting coffee. And then in the evening you come home and you turn it on and you might see a movie like Throwaways or maybe Dead Rising Watchtower, because it's nighttime and you're going to sit down and you have 90 minutes and a little bit more time to maybe binge or watch something that's feature length. So we're very excited about those changes.
But in regards to the movies, TV shows that we have available, everyone always asks, oh, is it 100% Sony content? It's not. It's about 30-35% Sony content, maybe even a little lower now, because we also have amazing partnerships with Lionsgate, NBC Universal. We just signed a huge deal with them for a handful of their movies and TV shows. Warner Brothers, Lionsgate, Relativity. We're working with everyone. We're even working with Relativity on one of our upcoming originals. We've worked with Legendary Pictures on one of our originals as well. So it's a great variety of content.
And now for my favorite slide of the deck, or I guess I should say least favorite slide, because it just makes me very thirsty. Again, going back to our rechargers, when they're done with their long day, they're done with work, they're done with the gym, they just want a crack of beer and just be told what to watch. They don't want to have to spend 45 minutes searching through Netflix only to just finally just be exhausted from the search and just go to bed. So we'll dive more into this in a minute, but in short, social media is telling our millennials what to watch. Their friends are telling these millennials what to watch. And yes, Crackle is telling them what to watch. So here we have a little more information on what exactly is this recharger demo.
So as I mentioned, we are a TV network. So we program and curate just like an FX, a USA, and a TNT. But so if we want to act like TV, we have to be able to measure it like TV and provide all the benefits of digital and the targeting capabilities that digital allows, but across all screens and devices. So we struck a partnership with Adobe Audience Manager to be our DMP of choice. We were a launch partner of this service along with Turner and ESPN. So really, we are leading the way when it comes to connected TV and making sure that your dollars are targeting the audience that you're looking to deliver across all screens and devices. So right now, we are Nielsen, Nielsen OCR and VCE verified across desktop and mobile tablet. But now with our DMP in place, we'll be able to do addressable matching across all screens and devices. That really sets us apart from our competitive set, and also what our linear brethren can do, and really ensure that you're hitting your demographic on the device and on the screen that they're streaming Crackle from. So talk about our DMP. Start DJing. So as I mentioned, Crackle, we are a network. We distribute premium content across all screens and anywhere you define the living room, whether that's on your laptop, your mobile tablet, or on your connected device. But we're also a studio, as I mentioned. We sit under Sony Pictures Television, and we create award-winning content. So this is our, showcases some of all of our originals we've done in the last 2 years. For the purpose of today, I really want to focus on a couple key shows that are going to fall in line with the upcoming RFP. But again, we really like to work with our partners and get them into the fabric of the show. So our producers are willing to work with all of our clients and all of our partners to find the right integration, whether hard or soft, into a show, and weave you into the fabric in a natural and organic way. So.
And that's important, and because there is a difference between linear, obviously, and streaming television. And a big part of that, and a big part of the problem with that in terms of attracting advertisers has been the lack of reach, or that used to be the problem, but we're kind of overcoming that now. We look at the latest numbers from Nielsen, and we see that over 40% of U.S. homes have some sort of subscription video on demand service, or SVOD. The vast majority of this is Netflix, but we're looking at things like HBO and Showtime and Hulu as well. This is great for us because we are an over-the-top streaming network. So the fact that people are watching streaming TV and the homes across America in a big segment is important. But what's nice about it is that, and what's tough for you guys is all these 40% of SVODs. There's not really an opportunity to reach them with advertising. Netflix is not advertising supported, but Crackle is. And as we grow our audience across all devices, we're here as a completely free ad-supported network that kind of sets us apart from all the other SVODs out there that can accept your advertising, and that's kind of why we think that we are important and have some value to you. Looking specifically at Crackle as a network, our reach is about 30 million uniques a month across all platforms. The majority of traffic at this point is coming from connected TV devices. That's smart TV, that's game consoles, that's over-the-top boxes. But we're also on mobile and tablet, and we have great products on those platforms as well. People are spending a lot of time consuming and watching this television. There are over 300 minutes a month on average across the devices. Most people are the place that people are spending the most time is on the connected TV devices, which is not a huge surprise. You're sitting in your living room, you're ready to watch a movie. You're much more engaged in the TV experience at that point. And the really great thing about full episode players like Crackle is that the metrics are fantastic for advertisers. I mean, we're looking at an average of 90 to 95%, sometimes higher, especially on connected TV devices, completion rates. So really, really great in terms of performance for the advertisers. We talk about the audience. Who is that audience? We have identified that audience as a group we call the rechargers. The rechargers are mostly male. It's male skew, but there's also female. They're millennials, but they tend to be a little bit older than your average millennial. 28 years, kind of the average median age. They're young professionals. They're in the prime of their career, or at least in the prime spot where they're building their career. They have huge aspirations. They want they want to be wearing Tom Ford. They want to be driving the Teslas. They may not be there yet, but that's where they're going. Their average household income, $75K plus. They're active. They're active socially. They're doing CrossFit. They're going to happy hours. And at the end of the day, after all said and done, they're exhausted. They want to sit back and they need to recharge. The way that they do that, and the way that we hope to help them recharge, is through really amazing and awesome programming. And that leads us into the next segment, which is, how Crackle. One of the great things about television has always been how easy it is to get involved in television. You turn on Comcast, you turn on DirecTV, and immediately content starts playing, and you probably know that experience where you don't even mean to be watching something, but you get kind of sucked into it because you turned on, a movie, Aliens or something, right at a really awesome spot, and you get sucked into it. Streaming television at this point, for the most part, has not had that. You go to Netflix and you just see a library of posters that you have to dig through to find content. It doesn't really have that engaging kind of effect that linear television has. So we want to change that. So we've revamped the Crackle TV app to be something we call Always On, with the idea being that when you start and you launch the Crackle app, you're immediately dropped in the content. It could be a movie, it could be a TV show, it could be the beginning, it could be the middle. Someplace probably it's got a nice hook that we want you to be involved in. Of course, you can still see channels. You can scroll through. It's got channels built out kind of more like a television electronic programming guide than anything else. So really the idea here is to marry the best of linear TV with the best of digital, which is that on-demand experience. Because you can dig a little deeper and get to that on-demand experience. You can find that library. But what's cool about the app is that there'll always be content playing live at all times. So no matter how far you get into the content, and in a second you'll see how you can get into those poster boards, but you'll never get away from watching live television experiences. And that makes things a little different than they are now in the connected TV world. You're not going to see that on Netflix or on Hulu, though my thought is that they'll be changing their apps pretty soon to kind of follow suit. This is rolling out. This is currently live on Roku. It's rolling out on Android devices and PlayStation soon. So keep an eye out for it on these devices if any of you guys use them. But I talked earlier about the things I want you to remember, when you walk out of this room today, and one of those is that guaranteed reach against the hard-to-get-to audience, those cord shavers and cord cutters. We worked with Nielsen. They came to us at the upfronts. Actually, they spoke on stage, and the reason we did that was because if we're going to talk about being television, we really should have the biggest players in television kind of help validate us. So Nielsen, we ran a study over the last couple of months, basically looking at if you're as an advertiser's TV spend on certain networks and certain television shows, and then when you add Crackle into that mix, to that advertising mix, what does it do to your incremental reach amongst that target segment? So for instance, if you are reaching 18 to 49-year-olds on FX as an advertiser, when you add Crackle onto that media mix, how many more people are you getting that you weren't getting, a totally unduplicated audience that you weren't getting through TV alone? And the results were very encouraging. I probably wouldn't have been here telling you about it if they weren't. But on average, we're seeing a lift of around 6, 7 to 8% incremental lift on all these networks across the board, from ABC to AMC to FX. And when you start looking at the millennial audience specifically, 18 to 34, and you look at shows like How I Met Your Mother, specific targeting shows, we more than double your reach against that millennial audience. Again, a mix of desktop, mobile, and connected television. CTV alone is interesting. No matter what programming, what show, what network you put it against in terms of the media mix, when you add Crackle to your TV buy, you're reaching on average about 1 million people you normally would not get, and you can't get through traditional TV alone. So we hope this is kind of compelling and makes you can see how we're a great call setting. What's cool about, again, working with Crackle is that we're part of Sony's Pictures Television. So we have the talent, we have the development team. From the time the concept's brought to the studio and pitched, to the time it's greenlit, to the time it's cast and written, we're part of that process the entire time. And assuming you get involved early enough, or I do my job and bring the opportunity to you early enough, we can get your brand involved, written into the script in a very organic way. But even after things are shot and done, we can still find ways to kind of involve you in the show itself. We can build sort of B storylines. We call them vignettes. We can put together some fun custom commercials for you that you can run across Crackle as well as your other owned and operated sites. There's so many different ways to get involved. What you're seeing here is some storyboards I did for a client of mine, actually, Infinity, when we're working with them on our new show, The Art of More. So just some screenshots of what we've done. What we always do when we're pitching a concept is we'll take the script, we'll look at some scenes that make sense for your brand, we'll storyboard them out for you, so you can really have an idea of how your brand will look in this show. And that kind of helps make it more real. Here's a quick fun scissor wheel we put together.
And having all of that information.
I don't know the specifics about all of each individual campaigns, or if you're willing or able to share, but it might always be interesting for us to know too. Were those across all platforms and devices, or is that specific possibly to maybe they just ran desktop? Or I'm assuming with that high viewability rate that obviously that it must have included connected TV because it's an astounding number.
Absolutely. The majority of these were all cross-platform.
Okay, and your click rates seem to be pretty not terribly disparate, but some categories a lot better than others. And I know that connected TV you can't click on.
Exactly. So those with the lower click-through rate most likely had more impressions running through connected TV.
Right.
So if we were to take that out, and for any of our campaigns, if you take out the connected TV, those click rates are always 12, 15, 20%.
Higher, right?
Yeah, sometimes higher.
Okay,
You're
great.
looking at mobile and desktop,
All right, good.
especially on mobile.
We might follow up with you and just if there's anything that you can share specifically to what platforms you run on, because that's something that's very interesting to us to see such high viewability rates.
Absolutely, I can share with you specific case studies.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I'll follow up with later today.
Yeah, for sure.
Great, I'll send it your way.
If there's a way to tap into anything that's linear or radio in nature, I think that could be something that could be interesting for us because he does obviously have a very big following.
Absolutely. Does this stop when it goes dark? Is it still?
Mine, I had to put my finger over it, but I got it pretty quickly.
Stopped. That would come after you, but it was cool. The whole cast was there, so
that's cool.
It was like
and the blood drive or something too. It looked like
And there was a blood drive. I participated.
Nice.
American Red Cross calls me every day.
Good.
Yeah.
Measure viewability across connected TV. Nobody else can offer that. So in the past, we worked with you guys with Innovid. We had some problems this year. We addressed those. I think the tags were implemented, and the desktop portion was actually what brought your viewability down. But we have agreed, it looks like, this year moving forward into broadcast year 16 that we're going to look at Moat as a partner. So hopefully that should solve for that.
So
Do you have a question, Amanda?
Yeah, I was going to say, can we just then bill on 100% viewability?
No, we're not going to be building on viewability right at this moment. We will give reporting, and there will be a slight uptick of probably in the 250 CPM range, but we will not yet be building off of that. That's not an IAB standard, so we're not following that. I don't know if you've got partners out in the marketplace that are doing that. We'd certainly like to hear your feedback. But good question.
Some of the networks. Yeah.
Okay, good question.
And then brand lift up subset of people, a group of people that we call rechargers. Rechargers are career-driven. They're aspirational millennials that are active in their work. They're staying fit at the gym or CrossFit. And when they're done with their day, they're looking, for someone that's ultimately going to deliver them with content that they can trust in a way that just allows them to just chill out for a while. Crackle, we believe, is that trusted source for content each and every month. So while our competitors are still thinking like a desktop, we consider ourselves an actual TV network. And unlike any other TV network, we're always on. So what do I mean by that? Instead of every other .com out there, we're already on from the second you power on the app. So the minute you're up, a show's going to start airing right before you've even began your search. So what you're about to see right here is that if I can find it. Sorry about that. So what you're about to see right here.
Content around the show that we've done for such partners such as Denny's, which I can give you an example post-meeting, but this is a unique show here. Okay. Go back 1 second. Just gives you a little
habits. Who in here has streamed video this week? Right, all of us. So we're all starting to engage in a different way.
I love Crackle. I do.
Thank you. I like to hear that kind of support. So anyway, I want to take you guys through what we're doing here and really how we're helping.
We have Sony Music and our acts from Beyonce to Hozier. Is he from Canada? Hozier? Take off, eh? Sony Pictures Entertainment for really cool, and Bryan Cranston is the lead on this, and it's about a bunch of aging superheroes that
kid has been FaceTiming me all goddamn week. Excuse my French, everybody. So Super Mansion, brought to you by